Welcome. Bob Long and I were talking earlier this afternoon about his experience working at St. Patrick's years ago, and how many thousands of people lined up to come in just to receive ashes and be on the way throughout the day. Bob thought the number was typically about 40,000 during the course of Ash Wednesday. And then, of course, there were people that wanted to come for a full Mass on Ash Wednesday and to participate that way. We are splitting the difference. A little more than just offering ashes and quite a bit less than a full Catholic Mass. We will hopefully provide time for meditation and reflection tonight as we work our way through our liturgy. We will pause after readings, we'll ask ourselves questions, and we will attempt to perhaps enjoy the silence and also be a little disturbed by it at the same time. Friends, will you join with me in the call to worship that is printed on page 2 of your bulletins? For Lent is a season of spiritual gardening, of inviting God to unearth in us what lies fallow, what needs to be tended and what needs to die, for new life to emerge.
Let go of fear, let go of repression.
Let go. Be wild and free. Plant roots like a redwood and a spine like a sunflower. For the days are short and I want to grow. Don't be afraid to let go.
The only thing I cannot lose is God's evergreen love.
We're going to sing using the red pilgrim hymnals. If you don't have one, I'm going to go grab a few. Actually, thank you, Annalie. And we'll grab some more if you don't have one. Here you go. Okay. And our first song is going to be Lord, I Want to Be a Christian. So that's number 353 in the pilgrim hymnals. Please rise as you are able. I invite Tim to read the first portion of our reading from Isaiah.
Shout out, do not hold back. Lift up your voice like a trumpet. Announce to my people their rebellion, to the house of Jacob their sins. Yet day after day they seek me and delight to know my ways, as if they were a nation that practiced righteousness and did not forsake the ordinance of their God. They ask of me righteous judgments. They delight to draw near to God. Why do we fast, but you do not see? Why humble ourselves, but you do not notice? Look, you serve your own interest on your fast day and oppress all your workers. Look, you fast only to quarrel and to fight and to strike with the wicked fist. Such fasting as you do today will not make your voice heard on high. Is such the fast that I choose, a day to humble oneself? Is it to bow down the head like a bulrush, to lie in sackcloth, ashes? Will you call this a fast, a day acceptable to the Lord?
The people of Israel sensed that their attempts to fast and pray were not working as they had hoped. Small commentary. You will have noticed in that reading that in the beginning and the end there is a call to call upon the name of God. And in the middle there is a note about why the fast may not be going as the people desired. Can you relate? Can you relate to this reading? Can you relate to the prophet's call? Can you relate in any way? Let us pause for a few moments and reflect and meditate upon these words. I invite Christine to continue.
Is not this the fast that I choose? To loose the bonds of injustice, to undo the thongs of the yoke, to let the oppressed go free, and to break every yoke? Is it not to share your bread with the hungry, and bring the homeless poor into your house? When you see the naked, to cover them, and not to hide yourselves from your own kin. And your light shall break forth like the dawn, and your healing shall spring up quickly. Your vindicator shall go before you. The glory of the Lord shall be your rear guard. Then you shall call, and the Lord will answer. You shall cry for help, and he will say, here I am.
And so let us reflect upon these words, asking ourselves, what does the prophet Isaiah to the people here? What is the connection between the fast and the action and God's assistance? Has your light broken forth like the dawn? What would that be like for you? If you remove the yoke from among you, the pointing of the finger, the speaking of evil, if you offer your food to the hungry and satisfy the needs of the afflicted, then your light shall rise in the darkness and your gloom be like the noonday. The Lord will guide you continually and satisfy your needs in parched places and make your bones strong. And you shall be like a watered garden, like a spring of water whose waters never fail. Your ancient ruins shall be rebuilt, You shall raise up the foundations of many generations. You shall be called the repairer of the breach, the restorer of streets to live in. Here ends the reading. Thanks be to God. Because one of the many ways in which life has changed when you have one of these devices in your pocket is that you take a lot of pictures. If you're like me, you have hundreds and hundreds of pictures, most of them of your kids, some landscapes and this, that, and the other. I don't have a lot of pictures of myself on my phone. I'm not a big selfie taker, but the good news for me is that even when I do have pictures of myself on this device, I can delete them the second I see that I don't particularly care for the photo. However, when I travel to Arizona to see my in-laws, usually after I walk in through the front door, there is a picture on the mantle that I notice immediately. It is from my wedding day. Everyone is looking great, except for me. I do not like this picture at all. Maybe it's the light, maybe it's just the expression on my face. Whatever it is, I cringe immediately when I see that photo. The hard thing and the right thing are usually the same thing. Michael Caine said that in a movie, although I can't remember which one. The hard thing and the right thing are usually the same thing. Certainly looking deep within is the hard thing and the right thing. But even if it's right, I don't often want to do it. I don't want to look inside myself and think, oh boy, is that how I really look in here? Are those the things that I pay attention to? Is that how I really feel about others? And at the same time, the fusion that exists within Lent, for it is a time of reflection and repentance, at least today, is also married with my own mortality. From dust you have come, and to dust you shall return, we say in a few moments. Why do we have to go for all of that? For repentance and mortality all on the same day? That is a lot. It sounds like too much. But of course, both repentance and an invitation to reflect on our mortality are invitations into honesty. Honesty about how my life has been going. Honesty about the fact that it may not have a lot left to run. To really acknowledge that I may not have many days left. Honesty about what I want from my future, knowing that no human is guaranteed to live forever in this life on earth. Thinking and talking about your own mortality is an invitation into honesty with yourself. It's going to be over for me. It's going to be over for you. It's going to be over for the ones that we love. It just is. And it doesn't get any more raw or basic than that. To live well, we must not only accept this, but have the courage to embrace it, even to celebrate it, to wonder and marvel at it, to give thanks for it, for an end that will come, for return to dust, for a finite existence on the earth, because it provides focus and meaning. It's going to end. So what do I do about that? What do I need to set straight? How am I going to be honest? What do I need to do in order to love as I've always hoped to love? What do I need to put down in order to embrace the ethics and virtues and example of Jesus Christ more fully? And honestly, in order to do that, to provide focus that leads to emulation, I'm going to have to set some things down. Some jealousy, or a priority that isn't actually a priority, or a want that I've pretended is a need, or a cultural totem that I've given into. I was dust, I will be dust, so what do I want to do in the meantime? And of course, as Christians, we remember, on this day especially, that even though we are given over to our self-reflections, it's not just about us. This is a blessing for Ash Wednesday composed by Jan Richardson, and I'll end my meditation with this. All those days you felt like dust, like dirt, as if all you had to do was turn your face toward the wind and be scattered to the four corners, or swept away by the smallest breath as insubstantial. Did you not know what the Holy One can do with dust? This is a day we freely say that we're scorched. This is the hour we're marked by what has made it through the burning. This is the moment we ask for the blessing that lives within the ancient ashes, that makes its home inside the soil of this sacred earth. So let us not be marked for sorrow, and let us be marked not for shame. Let us be marked not for false humility or for thinking we're less than we are, but for claiming what God can do within the dust, within the dirt, within the stuff of which the world is made, and the stars that blaze in our bones and the galaxies that spiral inside the smudge that we all bear. I invite anyone who would like to come forward and receive ashes to do so in a few moments. I will place the cross upon your forehead unless you put out your hand towards me to indicate that you would prefer the ashes to be placed on your hand. If you do not want me to touch you at all, cross your arms like that and I will just offer a brief blessing for you as you pass by. If you don't want to come up at all, that is completely fine, of course. So I'm going to invite the first row, starting with Rick and Avril, and to go to the second row, and then first, second, and third on this side. For those worshiping at home with us tonight, we have about 8 or 9 folks who are watching on Zoom. Della, Vicky, Austin, Judy, Kathleen and Dave, Chris and Tony, Jen and Kim. From dust you have come, and to dust you shall return. I invite you to remain seated as we sing our closing hymn, Abide With Me, number 209. Let us join together in our benediction. Thumb to forehead, that's how this begins. A thin dust reminder that life in time ends. So how do I want to spend my days? How do I live a life that weighs? Heavy with love and heavy with truth. Heavy with memories of laughter and you. And is that what matters at the end of the day? Or is it justice and peace and the sound of your name? Thumb to forehead, remind me again that this precious life begins and ends. And like the trees in autumn, may I learn to let go, making room in my heart for a new kind of growth. A change in seasons, a change in me. Thumb to forehead, let it be. Go in peace.